Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the MasterClass. Joshua, my friend, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Another day in paradise, my friend.
That's right. You should be in paradise. You're at Dubro. All
This
the
is
fun
true.
toys there.
This is true. This is true. I mean, I could basically walk down the aisles and build a plane minus the balsa.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of building up your plane, how is your plane build coming along?
she's coming along. I'm not going to lie. I haven't made much progress, but
Well, you've been on
that's
the
about to
road lately.
change. That's about to change. I got one more show left, and it's the show we're all waiting for.
That's right.
Toledo, Ohio. Dubro will be in the house. So we got 2 weeks? 2 weeks, I
Yeah.
think. Right?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing all you beautiful people there. So
Yeah.
we're definitely excited. Drop in the chat where you guys are tuning in from. I see we got Ohio, New Jersey, San Diego, Lancaster, PA,
Ooh.
Leesburg, Virginia, Mr. Mark from Old School Model Works in Ohio,
Hey, Mark.
Colonial Beach, Virginia. And we fail to mention this every podcast, but these two planes that are being built, we're giving one of them away. And how you enter for that is by dropping a comment in the chat. So you get your choice of glow or electric, full package. So make sure you drop a question in the chat, where you're tuning in from, whatever, and you get entered in. And we will be pulling that winner at this year's Nats at AMA HQ.
That's right.
So
And to be absolutely clear, it's not just the models. It's the models set up to fly with batteries, with transmitter. And if you missed that part, go to the last episode. Was it the last one or the one? I can't remember, Brian. They all run together now.
yeah.
But we went over all the electronics and a lot
Mhm.
of the fun stuff that we're putting inside of these models. And we're going to do a little bit more of that tonight, aren't we?
Yes, sir. I am excited.
Are you?
Look at all these comments popping in, man. We got people nationwide, even
Look at
Canada
that.
in the house.
All right.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go glow. That's right. We're working on glow engine stuff tonight. Going to be a little bit nostalgic.
Well, we got a bunch of Ohioans in the house, so we better see you all at the Toledo show.
That's right. I want everybody to come up and say hello and ask for Brian's autograph.
I mean, if you want to devalue whatever I'm signing, no problem.
All right.
We
Well, go ahead.
let's hit those questions we got.
Oh yeah, let's do
Because
that.
you and I talked about it. We had a
Yeah.
viewer call me. I think it was last week. Was it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And guys, gals, this is why we do this, is just to help you guys learn and build and things like that. And I forget the gentleman's name. He's in Missouri. I know he's 10 minutes away from my daughter's college, because we had that
Yeah.
conversation too.
We did. And we're both bad with names.
Yeah,
So.
horrible. And it happens. I mean, I forget my name all the time. But he had a couple great questions, and I know some of them we already covered, but I think the big one we didn't cover, that he was talking about, was mounting the gas motor and how you have to have an angle of pitch, which I believe we're going to touch on tonight.
Yeah.
And then, oh no, don't update now. Sorry.
Computer.
Yeah. And then the latch for the hatch. So I don't
Yeah.
know if you want to touch on those real quick.
Yeah, I can touch on both of those. So the latch is the easy one. I'll just knock that right out of the way. So here is the hatch. All right. And the hatch latch is just a simple clip that would go into a slot and clip right here. And there's a piece of plastic that can overlap. I actually have one, but I it's okay. If you look at the back of this, it's exactly exactly like the front, because there is an actual spar right here, that little tongue that sticks out, that actually slides underneath of that to latch it. So there really isn't a very good way, I guess, for lack of a better term, to integrate the hatch latch into this build. This method is already plenty strong and sufficient, and Mark has assured me that it works great. And I believe it after having assembled it. So no need to reinvent the wheel. But I have used the hatch latch before on other applications. It also works really, really well. Works great, not just for hatches, but for other door closures too. So check that out if you think it can work for your application. And then the other question was the angle, the
Yeah,
engine
for
angle.
mounting the engine. Yep.
Yeah. So most models have uh, an angle, a thrust angle that is specified in the plans. Most of the time, anymore, models will have the thrust angle built into the model. That's true on my Balsa USA Smoothie. When I built that, it was specified in the plans because I went with a different motor. It's it's a custom built contra rotating electric motor with, it's actually 2 motors, but it's custom machined, very specific. But because of the differing torque, there's no back torque into the airframe, so I just built it straight dead on. So Mark, you can probably chime in a little bit more here, but I'm going to fly the airplane as is, and if it's just like any other glow engine airplane, I will see how it flies. If I feel like I need to add some thrust for my liking, I will do so with washers, just like anything else. You shim it, whether it's a little bit of up thrust or right thrust, whatever it may be. But definitely go by what is specified on your plans. All right.
We got how about magnets for hatch and door
Oh,
latches?
yeah, magnets work great. I definitely suggest, rather than doing magnet on metal plate, definitely do magnet on magnet. It is a much more secure connection, especially if there's a potential for a pressure differential, a positive pressure differential. There really shouldn't be, but it's possible depending on how you have your model set up. I have had models where a magnetic hatch was not quite sufficient because there was a vacuum, and it would pull the hatch up away from the airplane. So even though there was no pressure where that hatch was, just the aerodynamics of the model would pop that hatch, uh, the magnetic one. So I added an additional magnet, and then it was fine.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah, it's a little bit more of a trial and error with magnets, but use them if you can. If keeps things nice and clean.
Mark said agreed. I checked the down thrust the same way. You may have a slightly larger 4-stroke, so it might need a washer or two.
Okay, thanks,
So,
Mark.
and then Gary had one thing. He says, I have used water-based stain on the body. I don't like it. Can I paint over it? And what kind of paint would be best?
That's a good question.
I would recommend water-based paint, because if you do oil-based, it may react with that water-based stain, which may result in a funky finish on your paint. It may not happen right away. It may happen right away. Um, what I've seen happen is it'll kind of bead up a little bit, and kind of give it a weird effect. So if you used water, stick with water. If you used oil-based, stick with oil-based, is generally the rule of thumb. Now, you can sometimes get away with doing a water base over an oil base as long as it's dry and has dried thoroughly for, I mean, at least 24 hours, if not more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you can't put oil over water. You can put water over oil, but not vice versa.
Yeah. I
So,
would definitely also recommend, if you're going to go with paint, certainly scuff the surface first with at least 120, maybe even just 220 should be sufficient. Scuff it up really thoroughly. And if you're worried about paint lifting, I always recommend going with primer. I have good luck with just rattle can primer over top of my water-based polyurethane finishes, and that's true of the water-based polyurethane that I use with my fiberglass finishes, as well as over top of wood. So definitely recommend that, and that way you can have more of a blank slate over top of the wood, and that way you have more even color as you apply any other paint that you would want to. So you have the mechanical and the chemical bond using the primer, but then once you add the paint, you have a good foundation for you to build nice colors for your finish.
Yep. Like it. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm waiting
Let's
on you.
dive in. Let's dive into it.
Well, do we want to do a giveaway first?
I mean, does a one-legged duck swim in a circle?
Okay, then yeah. All right, so my trivia questions tonight are centered around the topic of conversation and construction. So, given that we are working on our fuel system tonight, I thought we would start off by talking about fuels. So the question is, what 3 liquid fuels are the primary fuels for our hobby?
Do, 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 do.
Yep, pretty much.
I know 2.
You
You
know
got me
two.
stumped on.
You
You
don't
got
know
me
the
stumped on the
third?
third. Yeah.
Well, the third is a little bit misleading
Well, I
because,
got an
I
idea. I
mean,
got an idea.
yeah,
Okay. All right. I got. Yeah. I think I know what you're. Yep. Mm-hmm.
nitro gas, alcohol, nitro gas. So electric is technically not a liquid fuel. Sorry.
Diesel glow gas was the first one.
I will accept that. I will accept diesel, glow, and gas. So technically, the proper names are diesel, nitromethane, and gasoline.
Okay.
So just to read something out that I found really interesting, the model diesel engine operates on a fuel based with ether and kerosene, as they are a rapidly vaporizing fuel. Do not use automotive diesel fuel for these. Since model diesels are of 2-cycle design, oil must be included in the fuel mixture. Either is a difficult ingredient to acquire. Proper mixture could include the following: 33% kerosene, 33% ether, 32% oil, 2% amyl nitrate. So there you go.
Boom.
Weird stuff. Weird stuff. All right.
Yeah.
So what are they winning, Brian?
See, we should have figured that out before we did this.
That's on you.
Mitch Gentry, send us an email, orders@dubro.com, and we will get you one of these nice Dubro hats sent out.
Nice.
So it's orders@dubro.com.
All right. Well, are we ready to do this?
I'm as ready as you are, my friend.
Okay. Okay, so we are on the bench with a whole bunch of Dubro products. First thing I want to talk about here is tools, of course. We got to start with tools because we got to know what we're doing with what. So we've got some needle nose pliers. Don't tremendously need those, but it will save the tips of the fingers. We have a screwdriver, which is an absolute must. We've got a fine tip Sharpie and our favorite razor cutting implement. This one is kind of dull, but it doesn't matter. And we've got a special Dubro tool. This is the tubing bender that Dubro supplies. Love this thing. Thank you for shipping it to me, Brian. We will be using the smaller one for the 1/8 inch tubing tonight. In addition to that, you can have a number of other things, but these are the basics. This is all that I will be using. There's Loctite for thread locking. There's some people prefer a little bit of lubricant for other things that you'll see as we assemble this. But these are, like I said, the bare essentials. The Dubro supplies that we're working with are some silicone nitro fuel line, and we have fuel line clips. And these I love because they're basically like springs, but this is what's going to save your fingers. So looking at the size of your fingers, like when you squeeze these, it's going to hurt a little bit. So that's where the needle nose pliers come in handy. We have a quick fill fueling valve, which will be nice. If this will focus, come on, come on, come on. There you go. There you go. Okay. So one of those, and then I'm also going to be using a fuel filter. Got to have a fuel filter. And of course, the obligatory Dubro fuel tank. Now, the Dubro fuel tank also comes with a bunch of stuff inside the tank. It's got this really cute wrapper. Now, what's also handy is that there are instructions on the inside of the wrapper. Okay, so if you have questions or need a quick reference, this is your quick reference card. But in addition to that, Brian, what else do we have with the glow fuel tanks?
We got the clunk, the fuel line that's inside there.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you're not losing fuel as you're flying.
That's right. And we've got these brass tubes and then the stopper that comes with it as well. And if you want a really, really detailed overview of how to put one of these together, where can they go?
Dubro.com.
That's right. At Dubro.com, we have the Dubro 101 series where there are a bunch of instructional videos on how to put stuff together, how to use these products. Now, our good friend Terry Dunn has put together an exceptional video on how to assemble these tanks. I'm going to be using his method, but I'm not going to be going over every step tonight. You guys can go back and watch that video and see how Terry does it. But yeah, I'm going to be using the exact same method. But worth noting is that the brass tube, you don't need to use any special cutting implement like a rotary tool or a hacksaw. I just use the method that Terry outlines with a razor blade, and you just roll it back and forth. If you can see that at the edge of your screen, do that a few times, and then as you do that, you can bend it and it will break along that line. And then you've got some minimal cleanup to do, and then make sure that you've got any metal shavings out of the tube. So because we're working in a pretty confined space, I've cut these rather short. I've taken this supplied piece of tubing and cut it in half. And I'm going to start by using our Dubro fuel tube bender. I'm going to insert the tube in approximately 3/8 of an inch. And the cool thing is that Terry recommends about 30 degrees. Well, I just happen to have a 30-degree angle right here on my workboard. So I am gonna create that 30-degree bend in my fuel tubing. And that's it. What's nice about this is that we don't have to worry about kinking the tube at all, even though it's soft brass. And that I've had that happen. I've tried to do bends without these, and it's hit and miss. I'm telling you guys, just get the tool. Get the tool. It's worth it. All right. So the next thing that's up is the stopper. I'm going to go ahead and put my tube in the stopper, but I want to note that when you insert these, Terry instructs to sort of do this in a coordinated effort where you have two holes that you're going to be using. I'm going to be using a 2-line system for this installation because that's all that I need. And in this 2-line system, I'm going to have a vent line and a fuel supply line that goes to the carburetor. Now, if you look at the engine on the model, the vent line comes off of the muffler, and into the fuel tank. And that's what provides positive pressure into the fuel tank. And then that helps to provide positive pressure of the fuel going into the carburetor. So you have vent line over here, fuel line over here. So I'm going to try to line up those accordingly. Does that make sense, Brian?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're going to be organized about this. Not really, but we're going to try. So I'm going to hold this here. I know which side it's going in. This is the vent line. And I like to have my lines at the top.
Can't see your hands.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the screw in the center, and I like to have my lines at the top. On a 2-line system, I prefer to have my 2 lines at the top of the 3 holes, if that makes sense. If I were using a 3-line system, the vent would then be on top, and then the other 2 lines would be at the bottom. Okay? So we're going to make sure that that is up. And the next thing we're going to do before I do Terry's method at the end of this vent line here, I am actually going to do the clunk. So we're going to put this in position and put our piece of tubing through as well. All right, so we roughly have our other segment of tubing in there. Whoop. Slipped right out of my hand. So we're going to hold it roughly in position and slide our piece of fuel tubing supplied in our tank. And then I'm going to take my marker and with my clunk roughly where it needs to be, I'm going to mark the fuel tubing where I need to cut it. So I just have a little mark that I know as a reference.
So, quick question here, Joshua.
Sure, sure.
Should the fuel tank be wrapped with foam?
That's a good question. I actually do not wrap my fuel tanks with foam. I would wrap my receiver with foam to help avoid vibration on the electronics, but because there's nothing electronic in here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but I believe this is HDPE plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so HDPE plastic, this is something that I use actually in my industry as well. We will literally fill this up with some sort of solution and we will put it in the freezer. And most plastics, when you put them in a -80 freezer, they will crack. And HDPE plastic, you can throw it on the ground frozen at -80 all day long and it will not crack. That is why I don't wrap my tanks in foam.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a 0% failure rate on those tanks.
I believe it.
Cracking or anything like that. So that tank is built to last.
Yeah. Good question, though. All right, so I am going to I'm going to test fit my clunk. Now, having trimmed it, it's a little bit of a snug fit, but it's okay. And you want to make sure that the clunk is going to move around in the tank and that it's not going to bind up against the end, but it's going to sit low inside the tank so that you can pick up the fuel. And it does. So we're good. Now, what I want to point out also is that when you assemble this stopper, you want to have the screw only lightly engaging in the back piece of plastic. You don't want it to crush this piece of rubber. As the screw gets tightened, it's going to squeeze this rubber and it's going to expand out, right? And that's what creates the seal. So when you put this in final installation, you don't have to crank on the screw until it stops turning. You'll actually strip out the plastic on this side. So all you need is like one, maybe two full rotations of the screw once it's secure, and that's it. You'll be done. So before I actually put this in, we have one last piece, well, two pieces left to do. So I am going to do Terry's recommended method of creating the vent line, and he does that by, I'm going to try to do this close to the camera, cut into the end of a tube and then cut out like that. So you have like a notch taken out. So from here, we cut that little piece off. And then that notch gets placed upward so that we try to get to the very top of the fuel tank, but we're not going to ever block the tube because we still have to be able to force pressure into the tank through this vent line. And actually vice versa. When you go to fill the fuel tank, you will actually force fuel through this once it's filled all the way up. I'll describe that fueling procedure here in a minute once we're all fully assembled.
Couple quick things while you're doing that.
Yep.
Chip said he flew his nearly 40-year-old P-51D Mustang into the ground nose first over the weekend. He broke the carburetor, smashed the RX receiver, and pretty much destroyed everything except for the Dubro fuel tank.
Sounds about right.
Fuel tank survived and didn't soak anything in nitro. They're great fuel tanks. Glad to hear it, Chip. And then a couple guys in here chatting about wrapping the tank in foam to reduce foam in the fuel. Any thoughts on that?
I think that that's an interesting theory. I've personally never had a camera inside of my fuel tank, but I know that on the ground, these models can have a lot of vibration, but a lot of that vibration is because they are transferring the vibration into the ground and they're stationary. Once you get a model airborne and it's not touching anything, those vibrations get distributed throughout the model. Sure, you can have a little bit of foam buildup, but I have never personally had any stuttering or sputtering issues from foam buildup, and I have never used foam on any of my fuel tanks. Just my experience. Your mileage may vary, but there you go.
Right on.
Oh wait, I want that. I did want that way. Okay, so I'm putting on fuel line clips.
That was the other one. Art asked, could you use a fuel line retention spring on the clunk?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Hold on 1 second. I'll bring it up to the camera and I'll show you.
There we go.
So yeah, I am making sure that the spring part that you loosen the tension from, I'm making sure that's pointed up, because again, I want it sagging in the tank so that when I defuel, I want this at the lowest point possible. And so when you're going up, this is going to be momentary, unless I'm really flying inverted, but that will be sufficient. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Going in the tank for good. All right. So then we're gonna get our screw tighten with a screwdriver. Okay, so I have just gotten to where the screw head is right up against that piece of plastic. And now I'm going to, that's half a turn and 1 full turn. I cannot get this off. Okay, guys, that's 1 turn. That's all you need. You don't need to crank on this over and over. I hope that demonstrates my point. All right, moving on. Moving on. Okay. Now we have the fun part. So I chose purple for my fuel line for a very specific purpose that shall not yet be revealed. Brian, I spoke to you a little bit about this point before the show. Does that make sense now?
Yep. Oh, I get
Okay.
it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The purple has purpose. It has purpose. So we are going to start with a fuel clip.
We offer many different colors as well. So,
what other colors do you have, Brian? I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you?
Orange, blue, black, green, yellow. I don't know if we have pink in that. Green.
You'd make some girls in the hobby really happy if you did have pink.
I think we do.
That would be cool.
I think that's it. Thanks for always putting me on the spot.
Oh, you got it, man. I got to keep you on your toes.
Mark said a purple mystery.
Mark, you know that the answer for the purple too. I talked with you about that today. It'll blend well with that. I'm just saying. All right, so you can't quite see, but so let me bring it into frame. So I'm just test fitting the tank in its position, right? I want to see where I need to cut the fuel. So this is a good time to talk about where fuel clips go and why they may not go certain places. So when you fill up a 2 fuel line system, you need to vent until you know that the tank is full. So with my vent line, since that's going to be where fuel's going to come out during filling, I am not going to put a fuel clip on this line that's on the muffler, because we're going to pull that off and just leave it to the side. So when it starts spitting fuel out, we'll know that our tank is full. All right, so I am going to cut this a little bit extra and I can trim it later on final installation. So there is my vent line complete. So now we're going to do the fun part of the main fuel line. So we're going to take our fuel filter. Brian, what is this fuel filter made out of?
That is aluminum.
It is aluminum.
Or is it brass?
So
we were just talking about this today.
We were.
It's aluminum.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'm double checking.
Well, I've taken these apart over the years.
It is aluminum.
They just unscrew, right? I believe they just unscrew. Yep. And there is an O-ring, and there is like a metal mesh, and that's all it is. There is no difference on which direction that you flow the fuel in. It mattereth not. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a fuel line clip to hold this on and keep it sealed. And we're going to put one on each side. Now, this, I prefer to have my fuel filter just before it goes into the engine. Reason being that there can be garbage in the tank and there can be garbage in your fuel, but it will never ever get to the engine if you have the fuel filter right there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put this fuel filter right before the carburetor. And then it will be perfect. All right. So there's that. This will go on the airplane here in a minute. And then we have our quick fill fueling valve. Cool thing about the filling valve is it also comes with a specific nipple that goes on your fill line, like on your tank. And there's a barb on it as well. So save a fuel line clip for that. But yeah, you just put this in and it locks into place and you fill with fuel and then you just pull it out. There's a knurled part of the metal here that makes it easy to push in and pull out, super easy. And again, just push it in, leave it there, fill it up, and then pull it out, you're done. The valve is great because as you're filling, the valve locks the line that's going to the carburetor.
Mm-hmm.
So the one going to the carburetor is the straight one. And then the one that's an angle, that one goes to your fuel tank. So as you push this in, it seals off this line going to your carburetor. So the fuel is only ever going to go directly to the tank. So you never have to worry about a line or anything. It does its thing. It's such a great piece of kit.
Brian Paris asked, will the fuel filter O-ring hold up to gas? And the answer to that is yes. That fuel filter will work for both glow and gas.
All right, Brian, we talked a little bit about this one before the show. So this is a piece of brass that I have made for this model, but Dubro apparently makes this in plastic too, does it not?
We do, yes.
You do, and it looks pretty much exactly like this.
It's pretty much identical, except it's not flashy bronze.
Brass.
I'm sorry.
This one is. It's okay. It's okay. So this I am using because I think it's going to be a nice little piece of bling. Because I am going to mount this to my firewall. I'll show you guys how I plan to mount this. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'll do this off camera after the show, but I am going to mount it something like, ooh, the propeller's in the way. Oh, here, I'll come around here like this.
Yeah, there you go.
Something like this. So that it looks, kind of hardware, vintage, steampunk, and it'll blend in pretty well with this aluminum as well as the engine. I think it'll look cool. What do you think, Brian?
I think that's going to look perfect.
Cool. So
I had to keep my response PG. So I'll leave it to you to determine.
Well, I appreciate you keeping this a family show. All right. So now we're going to put another little piece of fuel tubing on the other side of the filter. And then that little segment is going to go to the fill valve. See how many of these clips we're using? Save your fingers, folks. Yeah. Not kidding. Not kidding at all. All right, so then remember the straight line. It's in the product insert card. So you don't have to keep referring to me.
There you go.
All right, so the straight one goes to the carburetor, the angled one goes to the fuel tank. And we need another clip. Do you sing to your airplane when you build, Brian?
I cannot repeat the things that come out of my mouth when I'm building an airplane.
Family show.
Let's leave it at that. Again, I am the student. You are my sensei, and
I didn't teach you that.
Things aren't as easy for me as they are for you, my friend. Not saying all things are easy, but you know what I mean.
I do. All right. So I'm trying to figure out what orientation I want to have my fuel fill valve at.
You're kind of slightly out of frame, my friend.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. Thank you for keeping an eye on me. So we have this line, which is going to go back to our tank, but I don't want that facing the firewall. This is going to be really a fun routing of tubes. I'm going to have to figure that out later, but I'll just plumb everything up for you guys so you know what it looks like. All right, so we're going on with one more fuel line. This is the main fuel line that goes to the clunk in the tank and is then going to go to our fill valve. Any other questions in the comments, Brian?
Nothing yet. I think everybody is just super dialed into what you got going on right now.
Well, I'm sorry.
There was one question from Jake Reese. This was a minute ago, and I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, you're okay.
He said, curiosity, is there any low pressure fuel pump to allow constant fuel feed regardless of engine RPM?
There is, but generally you don't need one for this kind of an application. Okay, and so what I mean by that is that most carburetors that are for these kinds of applications, they have what's called a built-in pump. And what that pump does is it sort of brings the fuel to the carburetor as it uses fuel. It's got like a little diaphragm, and the engine sort of, pats up that diaphragm, and it helps pump the fuel, right? Now, some of these larger engines, the pump is not entirely sufficient, and so they will recommend an electric pump, which I have installed on a friend's model before. And on that pump, there is a check valve. It's a one-way check valve where the fuel can't go past, or can't go backwards, right? Can't go backwards, but there's a relief valve. And so it's sort of like a modern car engine where any extra fuel that's not used is bypassed and goes back to the tank. So there are things like that out there. But for smaller engines like this, you don't need that. And those pumps are really expensive.
So our friend Gary is asking, when the fuel runs low, does the CG shift backwards to make it tail heavy?
Okay, so that's a great point. Yes, it makes it more tail heavy, but when you balance your model on a glow engine airplane, you balance it empty. So a really nose heavy model airplane will fly poorly. A tail heavy airplane will fly once. Because once you fly it, either you will crash it if it's tail heavy, or you will barely get it on the ground and you will never fly it tail heavy ever again. That's why you will only ever fly that plane once. So yes, you balance with the CG with the fuel tank empty so that you have a nice neutral center of gravity. And then as you add fuel, you will have a slightly nose heavy CG. This is only a 6-ounce fuel tank, so at maximum it holds 6 ounces. So that's not even half a pound. So I'm not anticipating that having too much of a dramatic effect on the center of gravity for this model.
Like it.
All right. So I think that's kind of fun. Ooh, I like that. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud here. I'm being creative.
Josh's light bulb just went on.
Yeah, man. So I'm digging this purple, dude. Oh, it's going to look cool. Got a little bit more refining to do, but I like the purple.
Looks good.
Yeah, man.
It pops against that chrome swirl.
Yeah, and if you know that other detail that's yet to come, it's going to look sick. All right, I'm pleased as punch with that. Let's do a quick giveaway, shall we?
We got one question first.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Rick asked, how many minutes of flight time with a 6-ounce tank? And I have a feeling this is a loaded question.
Yeah. Okay, so number one, it depends on the load. Okay, so I mean two things by that. Load is the propeller, first and foremost, but also how heavy is the airplane that it's hauling? Because if you're trying to maintain that same RPM, it's going to use more fuel. But you know, if you've got more parasitic drag because you've got a heavier airplane that's being, dragged through through the air, it's going to tend to want to use more fuel. And this is even true on electric airplanes. I have a number of airplanes that use the exact same electric system because it's convenient for me. I build around the same size of model, so it's easier for me to purchase batteries, replacement parts, etc. So I have an airplane where that motor flies the model for about 7 minutes max. And then I have another model, exact same motor, exact same speed controller. It'll fly for about 15 minutes. So there you go. So kind of a loaded question, I know, but 4-stroke engines use a lot less fuel than 2-stroke engines. Based off of conversations with Mark at Old School Model Works, we are guessing somewhere in the 15-20 minute range, we think.
Okay. We got a couple more that popped up.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's hit them.
First, this was great. Bradley says, on an electric plane, do you balance it with the battery full or empty?
Ah ha ha ha. Ah ha ha ha.
Four Eyes said, should the tank be level with the engine? And then furthermore, Brandon asked if you could comment on the tank location relative to the carburetor vertically.
Sure. All right. So, Brian, can you explain what capillary action is?
Nope.
Do you know what? Did you ever steal gas when you were a kid?
No.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm going to take you at your
Siphoning
word.
gas. Yeah.
Okay, so a siphon is essentially the use of gravity and capillary action. So if you've ever taken a paper towel and there is a water spot on your table, for example, and you just set the paper towel next to it, capillary action is where that paper towel will wick that entire puddle of water away from its spot onto the paper towel. Okay, that's capillary action. Siphoning is where you have gravity that uses that same principle of capillary action, but makes it go through a tube, right? So with respect to position, high, low, I don't find that it matters that much. I have a number of model airplanes. One has the tank directly in line with the carburetor. I have my quarter scale gas engine airplane where it is above. And I've also flown airplanes where it's below. So because you're using that capillary action and siphon effect, not to mention you've got the pump of the carburetor, there's really not a whole lot of dramatic influence of position. I think it does. I think it does influence it a little bit. But in my opinion, I don't think it's as prevalent as some people make it out to be. We'll leave it at that. This is one of those gray areas that a lot of modelers get into some debate about, and that's fine. I don't I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think debate helps us understand things more effectively. But in my experience, it doesn't make that much of a difference.
I just looked up your criminal background after that comment, Joshua. And it seems like we may have to sever this relationship, my friend. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey, man, if I can get a passport and oh wait, that doesn't say much either, does it?
Brett McKay is asking, will the clunk get stuck to the front of the tank if the plane is stored by hanging from the stab?
Oh, good question. Good question. No. Okay, so I have had people have this happen before, but those are on much larger tanks, like longer tanks. One second, actually. Ooh, I'm glad I have this box out. So this is my box full of spare tanks. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Okay. Lots of my models that I buy come with tanks, and I never use them because mostly I fly electrics. But yeah, so look at this length of tubing inside this tank. And if you were to have, well, where's a clunk? Is there a clunk in there? No, of course not. Of course not. How could I possibly be ready for that? All right, there's a clunk.
Quit clunking around.
I know. All right, so here's a clunk on the end of this piece of tubing. So this is just a quick experiment to demonstrate the point. So if you have this piece of tubing inside the tank, right? And then you go to turn it upside down, but you constrain the direction that it can go, it's never going to go back in on itself. So that's part of good tank design. That comes from the manufacturer. And Dubro tanks don't do this generally. They do it when the fuel tubing is not good quality silicone tubing and the tubing breaks down and gets thin and then gets a bend in it. So there's an exception. So generally speaking, if your fuel tank has your clunk in it, you turn it upside down, you can shake it all around and it will never bend back in on itself because of the silicone tubing having a heavier wall thickness and its elasticity as well.
Like it.
Next question. Or is it my turn to ask a question?
It's your turn to ask a question, my friend.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait.
What?
We did this last time. What are we doing for this question?
Oh, what are we giving away?
We'll do a set of chrome wheels.
Oh, chromies are awesome. I love it. Okay. So inside every glow engine is a glow plug, right? Straightforward. Okay, so inside the glow plug is a coil of wire. It's called an element or a filament, depends on who you ask. It glows red hot when you apply voltage to it, right? So believe it or not, these elements are made out of rare earth metals. What two rare earth metals are part of the alloy that comprise the element? There are other ones. There's chromium. There's blends of all sorts of different metals that give one manufacturer an advantage over the other, but there are two rare earth metals. What are they? I see one. Give me two.
First one with two answers is nichrome wire and platinum.
One is right, one is not.
Platinum tungsten. Platinum.
One is right, one is wrong.
Platinum and iridium.
Close.
Platinum nickel.
Everybody's got platinum. Okay, we've established platinum. What's the other one? Rare earth. Nickel is not rare earth.
Mag.
I don't know what mag is. You mean magnesium? Not rare earth.
Platinum and copper.
Copper is not rare earth metal. Good guess, though. Copper is highly conductive. You'd think there may be some copper in there.
Mark says, in talking with Sonictronics, who makes plugs, at one time that rare earth metal was selling for over 10K an ounce.
Yeah.
Chromium?
Not chromium.
Nickium?
Not rare earth.
Platinum?
Molybdenum? No.
Yeah.
I think
Iron?
that was gibberish. Iron? No. Not rare earth. Come on. Platinum is rare earth. It's a precious metal. Think rarer than iron. I chose a good one. Ruthenium? No. No carbon. Iridium? I mean, iridium is close in the way that this sounds, but it's not. Not magnesium. No.
This has been the stumper this whole time.
I know. And I still got one more that I think is even more of a stumper.
Platinum and titanium.
Now there's one. Titanium, no. Titanium is actually terrible for heat conducting, which is why they use it on the skins of airplanes. It's good for dispersing heat. Is that even a real element?
Steve says platinum and I don't know diem.
You know what? I'm going to give it to Steve because nobody else can come up with the answer, and that's the best one yet. All right. So let's call it so that we can move on. Steve, email Brian.
Email orders@dubro.com and let me know what size chrome tires you would like with your shipping address as well. I don't know diem.
It's
I love it.
Rhodium.
Rhodium.
RHODIUM. And Mark is correct. This metal is crazy expensive. I actually looked it up today. I could not believe it's still over $4,000 an ounce.
Whew.
$4,000.
That's
bonkers.
Nuts. Looks like we're in the wrong business, my friend.
I mean, if you can find it,
you
can find it.
You're gonna have to go
rare.
be miners.
Like rare as in $4,000 an ounce, and that tank holds 6 ounces.
Whew. Mark says, I believe it spiked at 26K months ago.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's crazy expensive stuff.
So now you know why your glow plugs cost so much.
Yeah. So like knowing how to keep constant good care for your glow plugs, that's why. Okay. You're not paying for something that's just, a piece of garbage, that's disposable. No, there's a real reason why these engines use these rare earth metals, and it's because the way that they retain heat. These engines have different temperature glow plugs that operate because of the different compression ratios that you have in the engine. That's why you always reference your manufacturer's recommended glow plug, because you have to match that heat specification, which has a different chemistry in that heating element for the compression ratio. And yeah, you can use higher levels of nitromethane. That's obviously way more expensive. I just bought a gallon for this project. It's $33 for a gallon of nitromethane glow fuel. So yeah, the cost can add up, but it's more efficient to use the properly sized and temperature glow plug. And I have one more question about glow plugs tonight. So if you have a whole bunch of browsers open, you might want to keep them open.
Oh boy.
Okay. So, Brian, what I want to do is I want to put the camera back on the model, and so what I want to do is I want to go through our fueling procedure here. So I want to make sure that I'm well in frame. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. You know what? Let me just, do a little cleanup here. Cleanup never hurt nobody. Worth also mentioning is that the fuel filters, if you don't want to use the filling plug, you also have this handy little piece of plastic that you can use where you simply pull the tube off of the filter and then you can plug it right on here and then fill your fuel line. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Like it.
Not going to use that, but there you go. Okay, so fueling procedure. I am not going to fill this with fuel, but we're gonna run through it so that people understand how a two-line system works. All right. So you're going to imagine that this is in place, this filling valve, right? And I have my handy dandy filling. Actually, I'm going to, just so that we have a good prop. So here is my glow fuel supply from my tank, from my field box, right? All right. So the first thing that we do is we make sure the model is turned off. So on these models, you'll have an on-off switch. So always, always, always make sure that any electrons flowing are not flowing. And if they aren't flowing, make sure they're not flowing still. So definitely make sure that any electrons are not flowing in the model. And then after that, you will remove the vent tube from the muffler. And I just let it go to the side, away from the model, where I know that anything that spits out of here is not going to get on the model because it'll leave an oily residue. That's additional stuff you have to clean up, kind of gross, not my thing. And then I will take my tubing and insert it into my fill valve. And then I will proceed to crank my fuel. And I will fill until fuel comes out of here. Now, the first couple of times, what you can do is count the number of cranks that it takes to get to a full tank, and then you can sort of gauge it based off of that. And then after that, I usually do 2 backward cranks so that I can get the line up here without, that capillary siphon action leaking fuel all over the place. So then after that, I will remove the filling, replace it in my fueling station, and then from there, I will replace the vent line onto the muffler, and you're ready to fly. And defueling is exactly the same procedure, making sure that the well, if you're done flying for the day, a good standard practice is to defuel the entire airplane. So you're going to do exactly the same procedure I just outlined, only you are going to reverse the direction that you're cranking the fuel, right? So you're emptying the tank, not filling the tank, right? And once you run out of fuel, you'll feel little resistance and you're done, right? But you're not. A good standard practice is pack all that up and then additionally start the engine. There is still a little bit of fuel left in this segment of the line. If that sits for too long, that can gum up, it can cause fouling problems, it can cause issues with your carburetor as well. So I like to, as a safe practice and just a precaution, I like to run my engine until it completely runs out of fuel. And then I know that I can put after run oil in my carburetor and make sure that it runs right as soon as I need it again. How's that? Did I miss anything? Everybody who knows glow fuel, tell me what I missed. Come on, don't be shy.
Dave says I use a small fuel tank as an overflow tank. It saves the fuel from killing the grass when their tank is full. It
Sure,
also
yeah.
lets me recycle.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I don't have that problem. I have engine run-up stands or plane run-up stands at my flying field. So if I get a little fuel on those, I kind of don't care. They're kind of old and grimy and crusty anyway. So yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Like it.
Anything else? Anything else? Come on,
Yeah.
guys. Come on. I'm the electric pilot here. Glow fuel is not my jam, but I know enough about it to fly it and have fun with it. I have a glow fuel plane. I have a SIG something extra that it lets me have that aspect of the hobby. It kind of gets out of my system from time to time. It's a fun plane to fly.
Brad,
Never touch the coil. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that reminder. Never, ever, ever, ever touch the coil. Reason for that is the same reason, like if you're installing a halogen light bulb, the oils on your fingers can reduce the life of the coil because you're burning that oil that's not intended for there. Now, the glow fuel has oils in it. It's usually castor or some sort of synthetic or a blend thereof. So, yeah, just never touch the coil.
Mark says the only thing left is the cleanup. What do you use to clean?
Okay, so this is another one of those areas in the hobby where I have seen people almost fight each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it
Um,
happens.
I personally, this is one of the reasons why I don't fly glow, because I'm a very clean person. Uh, my models, I like to have them very clean, and I do preventative cleaning. Okay. At the end of the season, I'm the guy who's there cleaning the grass off of his plane.
Yeah.
um, so what I prefer uh, to clean my airplane with is any sort of simple degreasing detergent-based spray. So like kitchen sprays work. Simple Green is a common one that I see for glow planes, but I've also seen people use like Grease Lightning, 409, even citrus-based cleaners. Some people say that the citrus-based cleaners are risky because they can take off some paints. Some people say that uh, some detergents are more harsh than others on the covering films that you might use. So again, these arguments are there, and they're there for good reason because people have experience with these things over the years.
Sure.
Personally, I use Simple Green because it's cheap. You can buy a whole gallon of it, and I have a bottle that I just fill up.
Mhm.
And I take the spray bottle with me to the flying field and a roll of paper towels. Works for me. Um, if you have a suggestion, a better suggestion than that, feel free to drop it in the chat, guys. I
I
love hearing
see
new ideas.
409
Yeah, 409.
spray bottle top on a bottle of rubbing alcohol.
Okay. That's an expensive way to go for sure. I think rubbing alcohol would be much more expensive than 409.
Rick says glow is messy, but the sound is awesome.
And the smell is just as awesome too. There's nothing like the smell of glow fuel in the morning.
Brandon is asking any comments on multi-engine fuel tank setups, example B25.
Sure. The best advice that I can give you in my observation, I have never personally set up a multi-engine glow airplane, but what I have seen, I think holds true for everyone. Do your very best to make sure that these lines are exactly the same length. do everything that you can to just try to make sure everything is exactly the same length, and you will have a whole lot of problems taken care of for you. Obviously, tuning the engines is a part of it as well. That's part of your setup, but in terms of the tank installation, just try to replicate the lengths of the tubing as best you can.
I like it.
That's a good suggestion. Windex, Dawn dish soap, emulsifiers go straight through your skin. Gloves, kids. Yep.
All good stuff. What are your suggestions when mounting a glow engine inverted?
That's another one of those debate topics. Some people say do it, some people say don't do it. I've seen it done both ways successfully, so mileage may vary. What I can say is that when inverted, be more cautious about your throttle position when you're starting the engine, because you can be a little more prone to flooding.
Makes sense. Well, last one.
Okay, running a little bit long anyway, but that's okay. Good questions tonight.
We'll do some hinges and
How
some
about a tubing bender?
T-bends.
How about a tubing bender?
Okay, we'll do a tubing bender.
Okay, cool.
That's a good point.
All right. What is the recommended torque range to tighten most glow plugs?
Oh boy.
All right. So I am gonna grab something here so here's the joke, right? Most everybody in the hobby knows what this is. Okay. This is a glow plug wrench. Okay. Everybody uses something like this. Maybe not this exact one, but something like this. Never, ever in my life have I seen someone actually have a specific torque wrench for tightening their glow plug, but I did find this specification, and it's on the internet, so it must be true, right? No, it's from a reputable location. This is from the Model Engine Company of America. Engines, parts, accessories for model airplanes, boats, and cars.
We got 10-inch pounds, 15-inch pounds.
Well, looking for a range.
Bradley says firm, not too tight.
Yep, that's my approach, but that's not the quantitative answer I'm looking for.
13-inch pounds. 20 to 24.
That's the first range that I've seen.
20 to 25 ounces of torque.
Yeah, you guys need to specify what the setting is. Is it foot pounds? Is it Newton meters? Is it inch pounds?
125 square inch. Just joined. What is the question?
Oh, poor Suter family. You're going to
What
have to watch
is
the recording.
the torque specifications for a glow plug? 2 to 5 inch pounds, 20 to 24.
All right, so
20 to 24.
Scrolling up here, someone did get it. Mitch Gentry, maybe
20
Gentry.
to 24?
20 to 24 inch pounds.
All right.
Yeah.
Didn't Mitch win earlier too?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't keep track of these things. Not my job.
What do I pay you for, Joshua? Gosh. I'm kidding.
Entertainment.
I'm kidding.
Entertainment only.
I'm kidding. If it was just me, we'd all be in big trouble. Mitch, send us an email, orders@dubro.com, and let me know what size tubing bender you would like.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for dealing with my really off-the-wall trivia questions tonight.
I like it. We had a stumper in there.
We did. Indeed.
That's good. And what was that response? I don't know.
The rhodium. The rhodium.
No. It was I don't know DM or
Oh
something.
yeah. Oh,
I don't know
Steve.
DM.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the I don't know DM.
Yeah. 4 ISIS. Good questions. Good stuff, man.
Productive night, I think. I
Yeah.
think we learned a lot. We used a lot of really good Dubro products that have been around since forever. Um, I,
Another great showdium.
thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be able to put all of these things. Keeping in mind that a lot of the parts that Dubro offers are essentially like Legos. They're building blocks, and you can
Yeah.
interchange them and use them depending on your needs. Some people may want a fuel filter, some people may not. They think that it impedes the fuel flow, but we have different IDs of tubing. So there's a lot of different things that you can explore in this hobby, especially with a lot of the cool Dubro products that we have.
Yeah, certainly. We try to make it as easy as possible. But yeah. Well, we got the next show is going to be April 1st.
Yep,
So we're going to have some fun.
we are.
That's April Fool's Day.
It is April Fool's Day.
Ooh, this is going to be too much fun.
I know. Not even
But
kidding.
uh, Four Eyes asked, how can you win the plane? You win by commenting in these streams live. So
Yep.
every comment, your name gets put in a spreadsheet, and it'll be a random drawing at Nats this summer. So yeah, that's why it's good to tune in every show. Every time you drop a comment in, you get entered in to for a chance to win the plane. So and April 1st will be right before we go to Toledo. I know I just saw somebody commented. Can't wait to see you guys at Toledo, Dave.
Looking forward to seeing you too.
Yeah,
We're looking forward
definitely.
to seeing everybody. It's
Yep.
going to be a good time.
We'll have a bunch of great Dubro products on site, show specials going on, stuff like that. So make sure if you need some parts, things like that, come see us. Josh autographs airplanes for. Oh, we figured this out last time. If I took
No,
2%
we didn't.
on
No, we
$5,
didn't. Don't
it
even.
wasn't
Don't
enough for
even
a
go there.
coffee. No, it's going to be fun. We both look forward to seeing you guys there. It'll be a really, really good time. We'll have a ton of product on site, so that way you guys can get stocked up for your shops. We always shoot an email out before the show. So if you're not on our email list, go over to dubro.com, get signed up for the email list, follow the social medias, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We always post up as well there when we got a show coming up, going live. So next show will be MasterClass number 11. Can you believe this is 10?
It's hard to believe, man. Time goes by, but I'm getting a model built here. I'm getting two
Yeah,
models built here, so
I
I
know.
guess I'm
You've
doing
been busy.
something.
You've been busy. You've been busy. On top of the other models you're building
I
too.
know. I know.
Yeah. All comments count.
All comments count.
Yes, sir.
Yep. We
So
love you guys. We appreciate you participating tonight. It's been fun.
very much. Thank you, everybody. We will see you on the 1st, and mark those calendars. And we will also see you at Toledo. Joshua, my friend, always good to sit down and have a few laughs and
Oh, you
talk
too.
some building, my friend.
Yeah, man. Till next time.